This is my third time trying to film this, because the first two times made no sense. Just like the movie. The movie made no sense, and I'm not even going to try to make any sense. I'm just going to focus on the parts that I liked and didn't like and what could have changed to make it better. First of all, this movie shouldn't have been the first movie. They tried to fit 6 new characters into a whole new movie, and that just fucked up. There's many characters that were left underdeveloped and unneeded in the movie. Katana did not need to be there. Captain Boomerang did not need to be there. Captain Croc did not need to be there. Slipknot really didn't need to be there. The Flash, his cameo, unnecessary. Batman's cameos, unnecessary. El Diablo didn't need to die. If June Moon didn't die, he didn't need to die. If Amanda Waller didn't die, he didn't need to die. This movie shouldn't have been the first movie. There should have been, at the very least, a standalone Harley Quinn, El Diablo, and Deadshot movie before this movie came out in order to properly develop the characters and not have to develop them within this movie. The Joker was just stupid and also unnecessary within this film. He had nothing to do with the plot, and all of the scenes that he did have made no sense because they cut out all the scenes that connected them all together. The Enchantress is a very weak villain. She makes no sense, specifically in the fight scene. There is no reason for the fight scene. They don't show why she needs to be there, because prior to this fight scene, they've seen her just teleport wherever she wants at whatever time she wants. The fact that she didn't do that during this fight scene makes no sense. And then, at the end of the fight scene, when they're all done fighting and about to have their big monologue talk, she just takes all of their weapons and throws them on the ground. Why didn't she do that before the fight started? It makes no sense. It's really stupid. They also tried to stuff a bunch of character development and a bunch of, sadness into the end of the movie so that you would, feel for the characters when something bad happened to them. I didn't care. You know why? Because it happened in the last 30 minutes of the fucking movie. Nobody cares. It's the end of the movie. You know what you should have been doing? Creating an arc. You should have been throwing all of this in throughout the movie. They just stuffed it all in at the end. It was stupid. I feel like this movie can be enjoyable for the people who already know the DC universe and all of the terminology that goes into it. But me, being someone who knows very, very little about the movie and about, the ideas and the storylines, was very confused. I was very confused. There are so many things that needed to be explained within this movie. What are metahumans? They don't explain that. What was the point of the Suicide Squad? Because, from what I understand, they needed to save the person on top of the roof. The person on top of the roof was Amanda Waller. Why did they need to save her? According to the wiki, it was to hide her involvement, but there was no reason for her to hide the involvement in the Suicide Squad, so I'm guessing it's to hide her involvement with whatever happened in Batman vs. Superman, which was also referenced in this movie, and I think that this movie follows the events that happened in that movie, and you had to have seen that movie to understand parts of this movie, which is stupid. No movie should ride on the back of another movie. You should never have your story rely on another story, because that forces the people to have to know that story prior to knowing this one, which is dumb. But if that wasn't the point of the Suicide Squad, to hide her involvement within Batman vs. Superman, then it was to hide her involvement within the Suicide Squad, which makes no sense. Why would you create the Suicide Squad in the first place? I don't get their purpose. There is no reason for the Suicide Squad. Their big purpose was to stop the Enchantress, who didn't go rogue until after they were made. So, that was dumb. This movie wasn't funny. I laughed once, and that was when Deadshot said white people that shit up. And that was the only part that I laughed. I found other parts funny, but I didn't laugh. I could see where they were trying to make a joke, but it just didn't hit. None of the punchlines were strong. Everything was just off. The plot just made no sense. What they should have done in order to make everything make sense, they should have had the Suicide Squad formed in order to bring the Joker back to Arkham Asylum, because the fact that nobody seems to be concerned at all that the Joker is just running rampant in Gotham is crazy. How is nobody on that? How is that never mentioned? He's just hanging out in clubs, having a bunch of expensive cars and henchmen, and nobody seems to notice or care, and that's just crazy. He is the Joker. And there were scenes in the trailer that wasn't even in the movie, and that's just wrong. You do not put things in the trailer and don't put them in the movie. It's so simple. Just don't put it in the trailer. Freaking figure out what you're gonna put in the movie before you make the trailer. It's that simple. The plot and the characters were just really weak, and I could probably go into so much more detail on this, but I've already tried to film this 2 other times, and this is basically my main thoughts. If you want to go watch the movie because you think you might like it, go ahead. If you like the movie, I'm happy for you. I just didn't.